You sit down to study after school, even after promising yourself you'll be productive. What if you could learn more on your most exhausted days without forcing yourself to feel motivated? In this video, I'll share 6 science-backed study moves that work when your brain feels completely dead after school. Research shows your brain usually isn't broken after school. It's overloaded. After hours of classes, noise, decisions, screens, and social pressure, your focus gets drained before homework even starts. The problem is, most students respond with more force. They reread notes, stare at the page, and hope discipline magically appears. That usually wastes time and destroys confidence. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to restart your focus, study smarter when you're tired, and still make real progress on the days you feel completely done. The first thing you need to understand is this. The biggest mistake isn't that you study tired. It's that you try to study tired immediately. A lot of students get home, drop their bag, open the laptop, and expect their brain to perform on command. But your mind doesn't work like a light switch. It needs a transition. Think of it like rebooting a frozen phone. If your brain has been running on stress and stimulation all day, you need to give it a few minutes to change gears before you expect it to focus. So the first secret is a 10-minute reset ritual. This is simple. Before you study, take 10 minutes to reset your state. Drink water. Eat something small if you're hungry. Walk around a little. Stretch. Get away from your phone. Let your brain feel like one part of the day has ended and a new one is beginning. This matters because your brain responds to changes in state. When you move your body, change your environment, and step away from constant stimulation, you create a mental reset. And that reset helps you feel less like a zombie when it's finally time to work. So here's how to do it. First, don't sit at your desk the second you get home. Set a timer for 10 minutes. Second, drink water and eat a small snack if you need one. Third, do light movement. Walk around your room, stretch, or just pace the hallway. Fourth, put your phone somewhere out of reach before you begin. And be careful here. The biggest mistake is turning a reset into a break that never ends. If you lie on your bed and open your phone for 5 minutes, you already know what happens next. Once your brain is slightly awake, the next step is making sure you study in a way that tired brains can actually handle. Most people don't know this, but rereading feels productive mainly because it feels easy. And that's exactly why it's dangerous. When you're exhausted, your brain wants comfort. It wants the easiest study method possible. So you reread your notes. You highlight things you've already highlighted. You stare at the same paragraph again and again. It feels like you're doing something, but in reality, you're often just looking, not learning. What you want instead is retrieval. Retrieval means pulling information out of your brain instead of pushing the same information back in. So instead of staring at notes, close them and ask yourself what you remember. Try to explain a topic out loud. Write down everything you know from memory. Use flashcards and force yourself to answer before flipping them over. This works because memory gets stronger when you practice retrieving it. Every time you pull an idea back into your mind, you make it easier to access later. So, even if retrieval feels harder, that's actually a good sign. It means your brain is doing the work that leads to real retention. Here's how to apply it. Study one small section for a few minutes, then close the material. Ask yourself, what do I remember? Write it down or say it out loud. Then check your notes and see what you missed. If you're using flashcards, don't flip them too fast. Actually pause and try to answer first. And remember, messy recall still counts. Your goal isn't to remember perfectly. Your goal is to force your brain to try. Now, you might be thinking, that sounds good, but what if I can only focus for 10 minutes? Good. Then don't build your study routine around hours. Build it around sprints. This next one is crucial. When your brain is dead, stop planning marathon study sessions. Your goal is short, sharp rounds that feel possible. If you tell yourself you need to study for 3 straight hours, your brain will resist before you even begin. But if you say, I only need to focus for 20 minutes, that suddenly feels manageable. This is what I call dead brain sprints. You study for a short block, usually 15 to 25 minutes, then take a short break. You're giving your brain a clear finish line, and that makes starting much easier. This works because your attention drops when you force it to stay locked onto the same thing for too long. Short breaks help refresh your focus instead of letting your mind drift into that numb, foggy state where you're technically at your desk, but nothing is going in. So here's the move. Pick one task for the next sprint, not 5 tasks. 1. Set a timer for 20 minutes. Work on that single task only. Then, take a 5-minute break. Stand up, stretch, drink water, walk around. Then come back for another round. Do 2 or 3 of these, then reassess. And please don't destroy your breaks with your phone. That's the trap. A real break refreshes your attention. A social media break usually steals it. There's a big difference between stepping away and getting sucked into something more stimulating than the work you're trying to return to. You've already watched this far, so let me share the move that makes starting almost automatic. Here's the truth. After school, your hardest subject usually isn't math or history. It's starting. That's why the 4th secret is shrinking the start. When you're tired, the full idea of studying feels huge. So don't think about finishing your homework. Don't think about the entire chapter. Don't think about the whole assignment. Just think about the first 2 minutes. A 2-minute launch is the smallest possible action that begins the session. Open the worksheet. Write the date. Read the first question. Do 1 flashcard. Solve 1 problem. That's it. This works because tired brains hate vague, heavy goals. They don't want to deal with study everything. But they can handle do question 1. And once you begin, the resistance usually drops. Starting creates momentum. Waiting for motivation doesn't. So make the first step painfully easy. If it's 4:30, then I sit down and answer 1 question. If I open my notebook, then I write the first heading. If I finish my snack, then I do 2 minutes of review. Notice how specific that is. You're not asking yourself to feel ready. You're just following a tiny instruction.